Welcome, friends. Today we're going to explore one of the most profound manuals written by the great Burmese scholar monk, Venerable Ledi Sayadaw. It's called the Paṭṭhānuddesa Dīpani, the Manual of Conditional Relations. This text condenses the vast Paṭṭhāna, the last book of the Abhidhamma, into something we can actually grasp and apply. We'll spend our time together looking at three things. First, a summary of the Paṭṭhāna itself. Second, the 24 conditional relations known as paccayas. And third, how these relations show us that all phenomena arise dependent on causes. Let's begin with the Paṭṭhāna. The Paṭṭhāna is sometimes called the Great Book of Conditional Relations. It is enormous, thousands of pages long, and it maps out in detail how mental and physical phenomena depend on one another. Its central message is simple but profound. Nothing exists independently. Every thought, every feeling, every perception, every physical event arises because of conditions, and when those conditions cease, the phenomenon ceases as well. Ledi Sayadaw's genius was to take this vast book and distill it into the Paṭṭhānuddesa Dīpani. He wanted practitioners to see the essentials without drowning in complexity. The message is clear. Conditionality is the heartbeat of the Dhamma. Now let's turn to the 24 conditional relations. These are the ways in which phenomena support and shape one another. I'll walk through them in spoken form so you can hear the rhythm of how they connect. First, root condition. Wholesome or unwholesome roots condition consciousness. If greed, hatred, or delusion are present, they shape the mind. If generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom are present, they shape it differently. Second, object condition. An object conditions the arising of consciousness. When you see a flower, the flower is the object that conditions a visual consciousness. Third, proximity condition. One moment of consciousness conditions the next. Like links in a chain, each moment leans into the next. Fourth, repetition condition. Repeated experience strengthens the next moment. Habits are formed this way. Fifth, karma condition. Past actions condition present results. What we do leaves traces that shape future experience. Sixth, result condition. Results themselves condition further mental states. A pleasant result may condition joy, an unpleasant result may condition aversion. Seventh, nutriment condition. Food conditions the body and mind. What we consume physically and mentally shapes our state, and so it continues through 24 distinct relations. Some are about mental factors, some about physical support, some about mutuality, some about dependence. The point is not to memorize them all right now, but to hear the pattern. Everything depends on something else. Nothing stands alone. Now let's reflect on how phenomena arise dependent on causes. This is the practical takeaway. When you feel anger, it doesn't come from nowhere. It may be conditioned by a memory, by a word someone spoke, by your physical state, even by the food you ate. When you feel joy, it may be conditioned by kindness, by mindfulness, by wholesome roots. When we see this clearly, we stop blaming ourselves or others in simplistic ways. We realize phenomena arise dependent on causes, and because they depend on causes, they can change. This is the doorway to freedom. Think of dominoes, one falls and the next follows, but if you remove a domino, the chain stops. In the same way, if we remove craving or ignorance, the chain of suffering collapses. This is why conditional relations matter. They show us that suffering is not inevitable, it is conditioned, and if we change the conditions, suffering can end. So today we've explored the Paṭṭhānuddesa Dīpani. We've seen how the Paṭṭhāna summarizes the vast web of conditionality. We've walked through the 24 paccayas, the conditional relations that weave phenomena together, and we've understood how everything arises dependent on causes. Carry this awareness into daily life. Notice how your experiences are conditioned. See how changing conditions changes outcomes. This is the wisdom of conditionality, and it points directly toward liberation. Thank you for joining me. May your practice bring clarity, peace, and freedom.